I'm going to start off a little differently this episode. As some of you may have noticed, I actually removed this episode from my podcast after releasing it. And I did this primarily out of concern that this conversation in some way was going to be seen as a possible glorification of drug use in high school, or even the glorification of a drug user. And I wanted to be able to say before you listen to this episode that neither of those are true. I also want to say that I'm very excited naturally when I meet with former students, no matter who they are. And I want to make sure that my excitement and the feeling that I get when I'm speaking to these kids and my enjoyment in the conversation is not misinterpreted as some kind of lack of understanding or appreciation for the seriousness of the subject matters we discussed. I'm genuinely a curious person, and I ask questions that I personally want to know the answers to. I'm not thinking about my role as a teacher even when I ask these questions, because this conversation, frankly, is not between me and a student. It's between two adults talking about what transpired in one of those adults' lives while they were a kid in high school. So after much reflection and many, many conversations, I decided to put this conversation back up on the podcast. The main reason I did it was, honestly, this is Dave's reality. And I believe that everyone's high school reality is important and could be relatable in some way. I gotten a lot of feedback from people that said just that. I just want you to know that every interview represents only the point of view of my guest. Nobody else, just the guest. David is an extremely exciting, energetic, and honestly complicated person. You're going to see that. And my hope is that this interview is seen as a cautionary tale rather than a glorification of any bad behavior in high school. I feel more comfortable letting you hear this episode with that prelude. And with that, thank you for listening.
I essentially realized I had some serious traumas that I needed to work out. Some of which led me to act like I was the man in high school and the shit in high school and whatever. Or I had to climb to get to that role because it was me against the world, you know?
And you had to run the world.
Right.
High school matters. Come on, let's talk about it.
Welcome to High School Matters, the podcast dedicated to conversations that I have with my former high school students. My name is Randy Appel, and I've been teaching high school since the year 2000. And this podcast really started because during the COVID pandemic, I had all this free time. So I started to reflect. I started to reflect on my life as a parent, as a teacher, and I started to think, how great would it be if I could reconnect with the students that I lost touch with over the years and kind of catch up, talk about high school, talk about things in high school that actually mattered to them then, but also that still matter to them now. And honestly, this podcast took on a life of its own. My conversation today is with a former student of mine named David Nowinsky, the kind of kid we all had in our high school, who walked through the halls like they owned the place. David was in my chemistry class back in 2008 during his junior year of high school. While David may have looked to everyone else like he had the world by the tail, I found out that things were not always what they seemed. My team had some strong opinions about many topics that came up in this interview, and my guess is that some of you will as well. But ultimately, I decided that one of the many purposes of this podcast was to shed light on what actually goes on beneath the surface, and to see how we are all influenced by each other in so many different ways, and to show how decisions that we make in high school when we think we know everything can have devastating effects later on in life. I hope you take something positive out of this conversation, and I hope you enjoy this episode of High School Matters. All right, here we go.
Wow.
You excited?
I am excited. I'm in the mix with Randy Appel.
That's
What's
it.
not to be excited about? It's good to see you.
You too, buddy. Really great to see you.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about on the way over here. How old are you now?
28.
All right, so you're a 28-year-old guy.
Right.
You've been out of high school for
10 years.
10 years. And yet you just took an Uber from the city with your girlfriend
Yep.
to come out here
Yep.
to meet me,
Correct.
right? To have this conversation. And it made me think, like, what was it about our relationship that made you want to spend the day with me.
Want to spend it. It's true.
You know what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, I think you used the perfect word. We had this relationship in high school where, look, during high school, my mother is now sober 12 years. My dad and I just rekindled our relationship over Passover. We call it Passover Miracle. So, at the time, I really had no authority figures that I looked up to or respected. So here was this guy who was older than me, but not that old, and like he kind of understood. All due respect,
yeah.
You were a teacher.
That's good.
I'm a kid in high school. What do I know? And I saw all of the people that I don't want to say looked up to, but like the cooler kids, or so I thought, quote unquote, cool kids coming to you and talking to you, and I was like, wow, like this guy must be pretty legit. So when you first called me with this whole concept, what was the first thing I said to you? I was like, fuck me as having me as a guest. I want to like work with you on this. This is amazing.
That's great.
Because it's a brilliant idea. And I hate to like sound whatever, but I, through the years, have learned that when I think something is cool, the masses seem to think so as well. Laugh as much as you want.
Dave Nowinsky. No, listen, this is who you were in high school. You're the same way. So
there's no bullshit. So,
yeah.
I mean, as far as spending the day doing this, like, look, I'm a relatively busy dude. All that to the side because Randy Appel called and wanted to do a podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
no, it's great.
I don't know that I could give you a better answer than that.
All right, it's a great answer. So I want to start by saying that I remember the first time I even met you. Forget about heard who you were, but I remember I got my class list and I'm looking at the list and I see the pictures of people and I see your face. And I didn't know who you were at the time. I just heard of the name Dave Nowinsky because Dave Nowinsky.
Dave Nowinsky, I'll tell you.
So I remember seeing that face, and I'm like, oh man, this guy is going to be trouble, right? Like when a teacher looks at their list, they're thinking about, obviously it's one thing to deliver instruction.
Sure.
It's another thing to be able to deal with the personalities.
Absolutely.
The perception was Dave Nowinsky thought he ran the school. And the reality is you can't think you run the school if other people don't validate that in a way,
Absolutely.
Right? So like, did you run the school? Who knows? But in your mind, right, did you think at some point that you were like the man running the school?
1,000%. I think it started off freshman year. One of my best friends had an older brother who was a senior. And that led into us hanging out with the older crowd at a very early age.
Exactly.
I mean, it wasn't so much Dave Nowinsky ran the school, but my group of friends ran the school.
And we'll talk about your friends because you did have an interesting group of friends. So you thought you ran the school in a way.
We're talking about junior year here, right?
Yeah. When I knew
ran
you,
the school junior year. Yes.
you
ran the school.
You ran the school freshman year, but you definitely ran the school junior and senior year.
My junior year was quiet.
So here I am going in this class with this big guy with a big personality, and then I compare that now with this guy who I meet in the class. I remember you were a very respectful kid. You smiled a lot. Like, you were just like a great guy. Like, we talked a lot. What I remember most is the difference between my perception of Dave Nowinsky as this like douchebag,
sure,
and the reality of Dave Nowinsky as this like great guy who I was developing a relationship with as a student.
That's very interesting because I had my perception of you, which for the most part matched up with reality, but I don't think you would ever have thought this. I was so nervous to walk into you were the first class probably in high school. I was nervous to attend on the first day because I was like, fuck, this guy's the man. Like, I don't know if I could handle this class.
That is amazing.
It's
wow.
the honest to God truth though. And I mean, it's funny now in retrospect that we were both kind of on that similar
That's
page.
so funny, yeah. Also another thing that I always find interesting is when I talk to these kids after high school, it's always like, do I call you Mr. Appel? Do I call you Randy? You've never called me Mr. Appel. You've always called me Randy, not in a disrespectful way. And maybe
never
in class. No, I never felt it. And when my first taught, it was a first name school. So my first year of education, I was Randy. Then I went to Great Neck and I had to be Mr. Appel. And it was looked at as a sign of disrespect.
Of course.
If a kid calls a teacher Randy. But for me, I never minded it because it wasn't like you were calling me Randy and I was like getting down to your level and like becoming a student.
No.
It was just a different, it was a different like mindset.
Sure.
The other thing is I was Randy, but the one thing I always remember about you is your mom was always Cindy. What was that about?
Well, first of all, you were also the only teacher I ever referred to by their first name.
Got it. Okay.
So my mom and I have an extremely beautiful relationship. Like I said, she's 12 years sober.
Wait, hold on. 12 years sober means...
She has not touched...
No, I get... I'm just trying to... I don't mean like, what does sober mean? What does 12 years mean?
What is sobriety? I teach in grade night.
But 12 years sober, so we're in 2020. That was 2008.
Correct.
So in high school...
My mother was struggling hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
It was tough at home because my dad wasn't home a lot. My mom was home, but she was drinking, as you just did the math, into 2008. And so until the age of really 16, I didn't know what it was to have a normal relationship with your parents where alcohol wasn't involved. And I mean, I remember being 7 years old and knowing that vodka didn't freeze and
wow.
grabbing a bottle of vodka out of the freezer at my house and it was frozen. And I realized that my mother had tried to trick my dad by pouring water into the vodka bottle and putting it in the freezer. So like this.
So that's chemistry, by the way. That's why you like chemistry so much.
Or what? Are we going full circle? But again, at 7 to 10 years old, this is not something we're supposed to be dealing with, right? So, which leads me to, like I grew up in this family of means, thank God, right? And I didn't ask for that. It's just, we're born into what we're born into, right? Because that's the thing, a lot of people will be like, well, Dave had money and... Dude, I'll be the first to tell you, money doesn't buy happiness. It never will. Like, this is a tale as old as time. And there are fairy tales about this, you know what I mean?
When you're happy, money's great.
Right.
But it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't buy the happiness.
It'll never bring you to that level itself. So, because we had money, I had a housekeeper. She was a little bit older when she started, but I was 3 months old when she came to interview. And her name is Margaret, became a second mother to me. Still to this day, we speak all the time, and I love her with all my heart. Shout out to you, Mar. But Margaret stayed with us till I was 21 years old, meaning I was already in college, and she, hung out with my mom and stuff because, look, my mom never lived alone until I went to college, or hadn't for years.
I'm sorry, were your parents divorced? I'm a little confused.
Were separated when I was going into my bar mitzvah year.
Wow.
And then divorce, yes.
Because I'll say something that I never thought about until you're telling this story. I just realized I've never heard you talk about your dad.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
I've heard about Mom Cindy.
Sure.
But I've never heard you talk about Cindy Mom. But I've never heard you talk about your dad.
It was a really rough subject for me growing up because you have this town where there's such strong family values, and here I am, an only child with 2 alcoholic parents. The rest of the family is small and doesn't get along, all over money, right? And where do I have to turn? What am I to do but become the person I'm meant to become, maybe a little bit earlier than need be? And really the only person in my life who I had any respect for or would ever listen to was Margaret. Like, my mom could come downstairs in the morning, get in the shower, what are you doing? Like, you're going to be late for school, as if I gave a fuck about that. But if Margaret came in my room and was
You're right in the shower.
Dude, I was in the shower as she started walking there.
Wow.
It's very interesting. So, I mean, this just blended into several different things. But to get back to your original question of...
My original question was, your mom was Cindy.
I had no respect for her.
Oh, so that was a disrespect. So calling Mom Cindy was a sign of disrespect. Calling me Randy was not.
No, if anything, that was like, I see you. There's something there, and that's something else about me. Like, I'm a people person. We both know this. It's how I've gotten to this point in my career, right? Like, I know how to break a person down within 35 seconds of meeting you. You walk into the venue that I'm working at, I know that you want to spend $2,000, but I also know that you're with a couple of girls. You're trying to impress them. Let me buy you the first round so that
they look cool.
They look cool. They look good. And then also, you know what? You don't want to spend $2K that night? That's fine. Let your bill be on me. Next weekend, when it's your girl's birthday, hit me up for the $10K.
But back in my day, the David Nowinsky of my high school days, of the 90s, would have been the guy who promoted the clubs. I don't even know if that's still a thing. It was still a thing?
Oh, I started.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, like, there was always, like, these cards that the clubs were based on, and the higher your name on the card, the more people you brought in, the more popular and powerful you were.
Sure.
You would have been the guy at the top of the card, I imagine.
I appreciate that. Maybe when we were in high school, I mean, yeah, I was the promoter guy that was on top of what you're essentially referring to as a flyer.
Right.
And what we now, we don't like to waste paper anymore, so the flyers are, on Instagram.
Oh, right.
Look, in all honesty, I was selling tables to kids that had graduated North. And when I say selling tables, I mean, like, table minimums at New York City nightclubs as a 16, 17-year-old kid.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not supposed to be in these clubs, let alone work there.
Wow.
That all came about because of an older family friend I had that also went to North, who had his own struggles and got involved in nightlife at an early age. And look, when you're 15 years old and you're looking up to a family friend who's driving a gorgeous M3 and he's the man and around gorgeous women or girls at the time, I guess.
Got it, yeah.
I don't know, all due respect. But I mean, it was like, let me go check out one of these, club nights. So I went out one night and I saw him and all of his friends that had graduated, some of which got thrown out of North. And I'm introduced to, again, gorgeous women. Like, I'm in a club. Like, this is crazy. And I sat down with him at a family dinner that happened like 2 weeks later. And he was like, so what'd you think? And I said, I loved it.
It's you. It's who you are.
You put me in my element without me knowing that was my element.
So going back down to your high school life, your mom's an alcoholic. My grandfather was an alcoholic. I never knew him as an alcoholic. I think he wasn't. I knew him as grandpa.
Right.
My mom and dad both don't drink at all. So it's always been ingrained to me, drinking's bad.
Right.
And I actually went through a big part of my life thinking that. Like, there's some genetic component to it. So my mom was always worried.
Right. And rightfully so.
Yeah. But thinking back now to you, I can't imagine what it's like. And I'm thinking about my mom, like dealing with her dad. What was it like being the only child with no siblings of an alcoholic?
I mean, now there's a name for this, adult children of alcoholics. I don't know if you know about that.
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's like...
Thank God I don't, and I get you do it for reasons.
But I mean, what was it like having a mother...
Yeah, like, I think back to myself in high school. Like, I dealt with, a family cooked dinner every night, and I dealt with these, like, luxuries that you clearly didn't have.
I don't want to make it seem that I had the worst childhood of all time.
It's not.
Because that's not the case.
No,
right?
I get it. I'm genuinely
not
curious.
Not so much for you, just for millions of listeners that are out there. They don't know yet, but they're coming.
Okay.
I mean, in essence, I lived a double life almost, I mean, it was like I had my home life, which was essentially misery. Thank God again for Margaret, who truly was, I say, a second mother, but you know what, like, with all due respect to my mom, I love her more than anything. She was my best friend even through all those crazy times. And it's interesting because junior year might have been the first year that she had gotten sober when I met you, which is very interesting. I hadn't thought about that. But I mean, thank God for Margaret. I say second mother all the time, but like she really took the place of my mother.
So, like, with the thing I don't mean to keep asking the same question. I'm genuinely curious. Was your mom like
sloshed at times? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And how difficult is that when you have your friends coming over after school?
Right.
Like,
I embarrassed my daughter just like talking too loud on the phone. Right. I can't even imagine what
exactly. And now I struggle with insane anxiety. That I didn't realize I had when I was younger, but I definitely did. And then it's actually very funny. In college, I went to, obviously I did this, a psychiatrist to get prescribed Adderall because I was sick of paying $5 to $10. Got my prescription, and while I was there, I opened up a little bit for the first time ever to a professional.
Wow.
Because my mom, even, if she was slurring her words, begged me to go see a shrink. And I wouldn't do it. Because anti-establishment, anti-authority, all of that shit. I was an anarchist, though, So anyway, I got prescribed anxiety medication. And I remember taking one of my pills and being like, 35 minutes later, like, wow, like, I don't feel like I have an elephant on my chest right now. I feel like I can actually have a conversation with someone without having 18,000 other thoughts in the back of my mind about what could go wrong. And I essentially realized I had some serious traumas that I needed to work out. Some of which led me to act like I was the man in high school and the shit in high school and whatever. Or I had to climb to get to that role because it was me against the world, And
you had to run the world.
Right, exactly.
You had to be that guy, otherwise
exactly. Because
someone else was controlling you.
And then you could also even look at it as like, I had to be the man of the house, right? Because my dad wasn't there.
Got it.
So it's like, forget the man of the house. I need to be the man of my world.
Wow. So interesting you talk about that, because one of the things I always remember about you is you always had beef with our principal, Mr. Kaplan, who I always thought was a very good principal because I always felt like
He's a good man. He wasn't a good principal.
All right.
But continue.
But I'm not 100% sure the relationship you had with Mr. Kaplan during high school.
I don't think I am either, but yeah.
But what I've always found so striking, and it kind of makes sense now thinking about your father figure, is every time I saw you after high school, we'd meet at the deli, we'd run into each other, we'd talk on the phone. You always said to me, and I remember this, you always said, make sure you tell Mr. Kaplan how well I'm doing.
Oh,
And I
absolutely.
remember thinking like,
Wow.
right, like, why does this guy, there's a reason this
How long
guy...
you been doing this podcast thing for, bro? Holy shit. Joe Rogan, watch out. Spotify, I got you.
But there's a reason there's a reason you wanted me to go back to Mr. Kaplan.
Absolutely. He was my number one, you're a fuck up, and you're never going to make it anywhere. And mind you, I have a dad who's a fuck up, a mom who's a fuck up. You want to call me a fuck up, I'll prove you wrong. So whether it was 2 years after high school and I ran into you at Deli on the Green, or whether it was 7 years later and we hadn't spoken in a year or two, and it was let's meet up for lunch somewhere, whatever, I always wanted him to know that he was wrong. He was wrong. And it's not about proving him wrong. It's more about, and it's not who has the last laugh. It was more so just like literally for me, like I want you to know that you were wrong because I worked my ass off to get to where I was going, and here we are.
Wow. There was something very profound about you wanting to tell your high school principal, well past high school, that you kind of made it and you were not the guy he said you were going to be.
Right. And I don't want to play this like, oh, I'm the man, I made it game. I really, really don't. But I think there's an argument to be made that I chose a career path. I'm on it. I'm doing pretty well. So to me, that's making it.
Right. Yep.
We all have our own definitions
Exactly
of everything.
right.
But that's making it, in my opinion.
It's great. So another thing I remember about the day of Nowinsky and friends is your high school home was a big, I don't know the word to use,
Party
but
house?
it was a place to be. And I remember it was called the Cabana,
Yep.
right? And you
Because
guys
I had a pool cabana, and that's where we hung out.
Yeah, no, and I remember you guys used to come around. Again, high school kids are like,
Fucking
silly. They
assholes.
think that, whatever. And you used to come around with like the
Fools,
C.
by the way.
C.
Wise fools was what Mr.
Wise
Griffin
fools.
called us on the first day of class.
So you had the C. You guys thought you were the Cabanians. I mean,
it was a fucking gang.
So tell me about your high school social life.
My high school social life is better than probably most 25-year-old social lives. I mean, I was, I had girlfriends multiple times.
What do you mean you were dating different girls that they didn't know?
Two girls at the same time.
And the
without
two
them
girls
knowing,
didn't know.
One from here, one from.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll be the first to put that on pause and say that I went through my own issues. I mean, look, we're bouncing around a little here, and that's my fault. I apologize.
That's okay.
But I mean, these aren't conversations that I have daily. However, I took 12 months and fully commit to sobriety. And did not pick up a drink, didn't touch weed, didn't touch anything that was not prescribed to me, that multiple doctors were not signing off of.
Wow.
I believe that people can be functioning addicts, functioning alcoholics, but when you can no longer function and do your job properly and be Dave Nowinsky properly, then you now have a problem. And the hardest part, they always say, is admitting. It's the truth. It is. But I, again, had gotten to this point where I was no longer me. And I didn't like that because now I'm starting to turn into my mother.
Wow.
Because the substance was affecting me so much that I couldn't be myself anymore and handle my day-to-day. You know what I mean?
But this was, so in high school though,
in
you
high
were
school
doing a lot of drugs?
Began. Yeah.
What would you do in high school?
I loved Xanax personally because not only does it give you, the ability to relax, but nothing actually matters. So when nothing actually matters,
Numbing yourself.
You're numbing yourself, and you can act like an asshole or, believe it or not, make some crazy business things happen, like start throwing teen clubs.
But were you on Xanax in high school? Like, were you during the day in school?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember a day where one of my friends and I left school, went to, the hood in a town nearby, picked up a 500-pack of Xanax, brought it back, and half of it was sold by the end of the day.
Oh my! So you were selling it too?
I wasn't selling it. My friend was, but I sold tons of weed.
Wow, that's...
And I mean, like 7 pounds a week was being flown in from Cali to me in an ottoman every week. Like,
wow.
From 16 through 18.
Were you dealing with kids in high school? Like that?
So I was mostly dealing, I would sell by the pounds to kids out of Great Neck. And then in Great Neck, with two of my friends, we'd sell 5 pounds of it a week out of town, break down 2 pounds into 20 bags, and then we had runners that sold for us.
This was while you were in high school?
Yes.
Senior year, junior year? While you were in my class?
Yeah.
I'm having trouble separating the Dave Nowinsky I knew in class, this respectful, great guy who I got to know, But now, so that's the Dave Nowinsky I knew forever.
Yeah.
And again, you grow and people make stupid mistakes as a kid.
Absolutely.
I get it, and I will talk about them. But now I'm like, it just, for me, hearing that you were like a drug dealer in my class, you understand, for me, how crazy that is?
Do you know how many times I probably left your class to go sell a 20 bag by smokers section, which I don't think is a thing even anymore, smokers?
No.
R.I.P. to smokers section.
As a 16, 17-year-old, was the drive the money, the power, or like that you were the guy that had to get things done because of what was going on at home? Like,
that wasn't it, because like, again, money was never a thing for my family.
Because you guys are wealthy.
But did I think it was cool bringing in that money? Absolutely. Did I think it was cool that I was relating to things that Lil Wayne was rapping about? Absolutely. I'll never forget this. He had a lyric in a song where he said, "I'm a prisoner trapped behind Xanax bars." And I was like, holy shit, we both take Xanax bars? That's the coolest thing ever. But like, what a fucked up thought for a 16-year-old kid to be having, sitting by a pool on a school day in a bathing suit with all of his friends. Not at school.
When you look back to that,
What an asshole. What a fucking idiot.
do you regret doing it?
No, because it made me who I am. Like, right? We're just a combination of all our parts.
It's interesting because I'm talking to a lot of kids I haven't spoken to in a while, and it's really interesting to get perspectives on kids I never thought of, and perspectives on their lives and what I never knew was going on at the time. And I've heard some crazy stuff. Like, I've heard some stuff I cannot believe goes on in a school. And what is a common theme among all the kids I've spoken to so far is not one kid regrets
anything, right?
And would change their situation. Listen, not everyone's at the place where they want to be in life, but like, I think what they realize is these situations in life define who you are, and it's almost like you can't regret it because it's like the building blocks that made you who you are today.
Absolutely. But you know what I do regret? Hurting the people along the way that I hurt. There was a kid who was selling pot for us, and we picked him up. And we went for a ride. We went to Limelight, picked up a Dutch, rolled a blunt, smoked it with him, went back to class, and my friend and I parked the car. We went back to class like 2 hours or 2 periods later, and we get called to the principal's office, completely unaware of what we had done that day. Mind you, we had sold probably up to an ounce of weed that day. Like, it could have been anything at any given time.
You had so many things you had done. Like,
who knows?
That were bad.
Yeah.
You didn't even know why you were being called to the principal's office.
They got us for something, but let's make sure like we're on the same page. And that was a big thing, like making sure we were all on the same page. So that when Kaplan questioned us separately, like we had the same story.
Oh, you were all very conscious of that.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, it went so far as to even like one of my friends got in trouble one day, was told to come get picked up from school by his parent, dialed my mom's cell phone number after she was sober. And my mom always had great relationships with my friends. And look, I don't want to portray it like she was 100% of the time completely gone.
No, I gotcha.
But I mean, once she sobered up, like it was like, you know, the heaven gates opened, and it was like, wow, I have a mother. Like, this is amazing. But I still continued to call her Cindy-Ma, as did the rest of my friends. So when they got in trouble and were getting suspended for a week and needed to get picked up,
they call your mom.
Hi, Mom. It's, Dave, can you come pick me up?
Oh, my God. They'd call your mom.
My mom would pick them up from school. And Kaplan wouldn't see them. The person would walk out of shame.
So so just so I understand, one of your friends gets in trouble.
Yep.
They call your mom, pretending that it's their mom.
Yes.
The person on the other end, Cindy, Ma, would say, okay, honey, I'll be right there, and pick up your friends.
Yep.
Wow. Complicit,
but was it because she felt bad and was just trying to rebuild this relationship with her son, was willing to do anything to do that? Because I don't want to lose him the way maybe I see him and his father no longer speaking.
Yeah, no, listen, you can analyze it anyway. You can see the psychology behind it. There's no doubt about it, right?
It's just fucking nuts.
But it's just crazy when you think about it, right?
Absolutely. But again, like, do we regret that shit? No. But I mean, so okay, back to this story. So this kid who was selling weed for us, long story short, he went back to class and fainted after smoking with us. Nurse brings him to the office and says, Kaplan, he's stoned. We were seniors at the time, and he was a freshman.
A freshman?
Yeah. He spilled the beans, which I'm not surprised about. Like, you're...
100%. You can't blame him, right?
No, but if I was that 16-year-old kid, based off my morals, values, whatever, and knowing what I had learned already. By the time I was 16, I wouldn't have snitched, but like that was me, and that's what made me, and this person, this person. So we got in quite a bit of trouble, and it was now well known that like we were selling pot.
You know what? How I think back, like we were like close. Like I knew a lot of your friends back then,
but I was embarrassed. I didn't want you to know.
I did
that
not
side
know
of
that.
Me.
Like,
of course,
but I didn't know that about any of your friends.
Because this is the thing about my friends. You can argue that we fought and we, beat the shit out of people and we, sold drugs and missed class. But at the end of the day, like, and I go back, I like to think this is true because I've heard it from enough people. I never had an issue with one parent. It was maybe before they knew me, but the second I had a conversation with them, it was like they went through the same process of thought that you did, like almost as if they had them on their class list because this person's friends with my son or daughter and they're a piece of shit and da-da-da-da. And then I'd sit down in their kitchen on a Saturday night before we were all about to go out, which sounds crazy in itself, and leave and, kiss the woman goodbye or shake the guy's hand and whatever. And wow, that Dave Nowinsky kid, like he might roll with a bad crew or whatever you want to say, but he's a stand-up dude for a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid. So, which was always very important to me.
You wanted that respect and be that guy.
To go back to the drug dealing part, that I wanted to respect money and the power. Like I guess a little bit of everything. Like I came from money, but it was still really fun having a drawer that I could open that at any given time had between $5,000 and $20,000 cash in it.
What did you buy? What did you do with that much money?
The stupidest shit. I bought Louis Vuitton clothes. Just the ability to spend more money. Yeah, no,
you're not talking about a couple $100. Like,
no.
$20,000 in your drawer. That's like
I would say
money that
$5,000 to $20,000 at any given point. Like if my friend needed $500, it was like here take $1,000. Don't give it back to me.
Wow,
that's like it was crazy. But again, look, pot was illegal at the time. It was easy to make money off it. No one else was doing it. And I mean, yeah. But I don't want to classify myself as a drug dealer.
No, I got you. You sold drugs if you weren't a drug dealer. But
I love this guy.
What's crazy though is, when you're
when you're in high school,
right? When you're 23 and this is going on,
different.
It's like this is your life, so like you can only focus on this. You had the SATs, you had classwork, you had homework, you had tests to study for.
Well, I didn't have SATs.
Yeah, but that's right. But you did well in chemistry.
Yeah,
you did well in my class.
I did. I think if you go back to my GPA, was like a 82.
Yeah, but so that's what I'm saying. How did someone like that? What did you ever study for tests? Like,
it depended. Okay, so I told you I respected you as a teacher. I never cheated on one of your tests, which says a lot because believe me, I cheated on tests. I mean, I had homework done for me by my girlfriends or my.
That's why you needed all these girlfriends. You had a lot of classes.
I mean, friends
and you needed
girls.
Someone that was a math science girl. You needed a social studies English girl. You needed like.
I'm so sorry in advance to.
Listen, it's over. It's your life. It's what you were. Yeah.
But I did mean friends that were girls for the record. But anyway, girlfriends work too.
Got it.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'm a stupid person.
No, I just can't.
It's amazing, right?
It's like, amazing how anyone does anything when they're going through stuff. Like I've talked to kids that how to deal with their gender identity. I've talked to kids how to deal with racism. You were dealing. I mean, like everyone's dealing with their own stuff. You obviously self-imposed. This is like something you could have controlled, but like you were dealing with this like these real life things, and yet you wound up doing well in my class to the point where someone who knew you well in high school, myself, didn't even know this was. I couldn't even fathom all this was going on.
I don't think anyone really could. Yeah. I mean, I think the one person who maybe could was Mr. Kaplan.
He knew
because he saw it.
Well, that's why I think he was a great principal because the major.
What makes him a great principal?
So here's the thing: the major complaint people have with Mr. Kaplan is he got too involved in after-school activities. But what I always
that
felt
to me makes you a good person and a good man
and a good principal.
Not a good principal.
Why?
Because your job is between what 8? When did you start?
I get it. Yeah, from 8 to 3. But what I'm saying is he understood the connection between what goes on outside and what goes on inside.
Oh, that I'll give you 100%. Absolutely.
So how could he not get involved?
Well, let me ask you this: did it ever get anywhere? Did it ever accomplish anything?
Yeah, but you can't blame a guy who tries to fix something for the problem staying broken.
I can absolutely not blame the guy for that. However, I put myself in his shoes now. I was not able to do this and reflect on this then. any person with a heart is going to try to do what he was doing, right? So, like, again, maybe I'm wrong to say he wasn't a good principal, and I'm saying that right now because of all the trouble I got in with him and the millions of conversations and all the times I heard Dave Nowinsky to the principal's office over the loudspeaker or whatever. Like, I mean, there were times first period math class in senior year that I would go sit down in class, obviously walk in 3 minutes late, and before I could take my books out, the phone was ringing. Can you send Dave to the office? Look, you have kids, right? Can you be an overbearing parent?
100%.
And is there something wrong with that necessarily?
Well, listen, the goal... So here's...
Arguments being made on
yeah,
either
because
way.
the goal is to prevent.
Right.
So,
the
like,
goal
it
is
goes
to
back
prevent.
to your original question to me.
Right.
I get it. The goal is to prevent. But you try to do everything you can as a principal, as the... You know, so your dad's like the... Well, not your dad, but dads are the principal of the family.
Right.
So this guy was the principal of the school, and his goal was to make sure... all these things that you guys were doing that I guess he knew or he
had some idea about.
He had some idea about. He's trying to fix it. So, like, he wasn't successful, clearly.
Correct, at all, ever. With any grade prior either, or any older friends that I have. So, again, this is what it comes down to. And again, also, you want to really take it back, I have an issue with authority, right?
Yep.
I'm still, to this day, stubborn enough to say that he wasn't a good principal. Outside of school hours. But I still had nothing to respect
There
from
are
him.
people, so if you talk to teachers, by the way, I'm curious.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually...
I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, I'm curious what your perspective is. There are teachers that say he's too soft. He let kids get away with too much. And that's the problem.
Well, I'll tell you a story, and you can judge for yourself. Do you guys still have Road Rally even?
I don't think Road Rally still exists.
Okay,
I'll
tell you why Road Rally doesn't exist anymore. It's because of me.
Of course.
Do we need to explain what Road Rally is really quick?
You explain what Road Rally was.
Road Rally was, and I forget what they called it in Roslyn, but I mean, all Roslyn, Great Neck, Jericho, the three major towns, right?
How about Syosset?
Syosset as well.
Oh, it does? Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, watch out.
I know. All right, so tell me what Road Rally is.
So Road Rally is a scavenger hunt in which you have 4 to 5 people to a car. The driver was not supposed to drink, and when I say you have a crazy scavenger hunt, I mean, like, freshman year on the list was play soccer naked in Dave Nowinsky's parents' bathroom.
What?
Yeah. So, like, that's one of the things that... freshman year, again, we had a great in because one of the judges was my friend's older brother. So...
Wait, what do you mean judges?
So there are judges, and I apologize.
Wait, so Road Rally is a scavenger hunt. You have 4 to 5 people in a car. The driver is sober.
Correct.
Everyone else is not.
I mean...
Or they become not sober because they have to do these crazy things that are much easier to do.
Sober. Right, exactly.
Okay.
And then you have judges, which was normally 2 dudes and a chick.
Seniors?
Yes.
Okay,
and only seniors were involved as far... in juniors couldn't have a car full of kids.
Oh, so the seniors were the... So why, I thought you said freshmen.
Freshman year on the list, because we were friendly with one of the male judges, he threw us all on the list to make us feel cool.
Got
so it was like, let Dave Nowinsky put his balls on your forehead. Like, no joke.
That was what,
and every car had a Polaroid camera at the time, and you get all these pictures, and at the end of the night, the judges got all the pictures and broke down who was the winner of Road Rally, and every car put up, like, I think it was $100 a person, and then, like,
what do you mean the winner? What did the judges do? Were there point values associated with it?
So, like, if you let Dave Nowinsky put his ball, if you're a female at least, because I wouldn't have even considered it a male.
That's the point.
That was a 500-point, thing on the scavenger hunt, and you got that, and you won.
So the more risky the behavior, the more points
essentially,
you got.
Yeah.
So and this was done by all seniors.
Yeah.
Why? So what was the you got money.
I think the money wasn't so important though. It was more about the clout aspect of it, and wow, they won Road Rally thing, and plus it was the end of school, right? But here's why it doesn't exist anymore. I get called into the principal's office, and it is brought to my attention that he is aware that we were planning on doing Road Rally, and because he was a smart man and very involved, it wasn't too difficult for him to figure out that I would most likely, 98%, be one of the judges. I admit to him I was going to be one of the judges. This is the thing with Cap and I loved our relationship. Like, he was very caring, and he really did care. And
you felt it?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. I mean, there were days where I got called into the office just because he was like, how are you doing today? And that turned into a 2-hour conversation, you know what I mean? Or like, let's grab lunch together. I respect that. Thank you for doing that for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that, like, from the bottom of my heart. Because he did make an impression on my life. Right? But
Well, as we talked about, you still care about having him know you're doing all right.
But, like...
Wait, so go on. So you're now in the principal's office. You're going to be road rally judge.
Road rally is super exciting. It's going to be next weekend. We're about to crush. School's about to end. So he says to me, what do you know about road rally? And I was like, is this a serious conversation right now? And he's like, talk to me. And I was like, what do you want to know? And he's like, is it happening? And I was like, I believe so. And I'm not going to sit there in his office and say, I am doing this. Because he put out a letter out to the parents, don't let your kids do this. Like, it was a very serious thing.
So this was one of the things, just to stop you, because I want to just set this scene. This is one of the reasons why Mr. Kaplan was so involved. And this is where we disagree. And who knows what, in the end, what was the right move. But he found out about this road rally.
Correct.
And he so badly...
Because of previous years and how fucked up shit was.
Yeah, so badly wanted to end it.
Right.
So you got to respect that.
And I do.
Okay.
And I don't know whether it went on the year after us or not, but
anyway,
I will say this.
So what did he do?
He goes, I have a deal, I will make you. And I think maybe that might have been the one moment he had a hold on me. That wasn't just like, I'll fuck you in school terms. I think what really hit me was like, I'm concerned that these kids behind the wheel aren't going to stay sober.
You felt that way? Or he felt that way?
I think I felt that way. I know that I felt that way. I felt that way. Because of what I had seen previous years. Because again, what did I say in the beginning of this? The person behind the wheel isn't supposed to drink, right?
Right.
Doesn't mean they're not going to. Doesn't mean they're not going to smoke weed. We can make all the arguments in the world of what drugs you shouldn't take and drive, right?
So wait, are you telling me that the Dave Nowinsky at that moment was not only thinking about himself, but you were thinking about the drivers of the cars that might have...
1,000%.
Wow.
That was very important to me because, and I mean, look...
Mom's an alcoholic, dad's an alcoholic... You've seen bad stuff go on.
May of that year, I got my DUI. When I flipped the car, traveled over 85 yards, flipped 5.5 times, and landed upside down.
Oh, so you were fresh off of a very bad drunk driving accident. Wow. Okay, so then, so everyone now is like on board?
No one was happy about it, but it was like...
But was the sell also like, yo, Kaplan knows about road rally. He's going to make
That's
sure...
That's how I sold it. I didn't sell it on myself.
Right,
I sold it on... Dude, we're all fucked.
So it was successfully
It was successfully averted on his end. And I, personally, whether anyone has their own story or not, I'm telling you, this is why it didn't happen.
So, okay, so let's...
We shook on it, I remember.
So thinking back to Kaplan then.
So, yeah, so does this give you a little bit skewed view on what you had thought of this, like, amazing principal who would never do anything wrong or step outside the lines? How could you do that job without stepping outside the lines?
I never, first of all, I never respected him because he didn't step out of lines. I respected him because he did things that most principals wouldn't do. So, looking at this moment, I'm not going to comment on whether he should or shouldn't have done that, but let's think about what it means that he stopped road rally that year because
God
of
only
you.
knows.
I mean, 2 of your friends died.
Since then.
Right? Since high school.
Yes.
So you had a year, and 2 of your friends died from drugs.
Right.
And you were a guy who was driving drunk and got into a terrible car accident. So thinking about like what the principal of the school at the time, whether or not it was the right move.
It was 100% the right move.
No, right? So like...
So did he get too involved?
Well, no, so you
maybe not.
Right, maybe not. So maybe that was the right move. Maybe he saved life.
But, okay, sure. But this brings me to a story that happened at Great Neck South at Battle. I don't know if you remember this, but Great Neck South had a rebel war, sorry.
Yeah.
They had their little rebel war, and one of our best friends, one of the Canadians, went to South. So we went that night, and we were going to the city after. We were just like, let's stop by there. It'll be our pregame, like it was a joke. And my buddy like rides wastedly a Razor scooter or something in like one of the events. And we're literally just standing there, like literally on the court, like not giving a fuck. And the dean comes over, and he's like, excuse me, gentlemen, can I help you guys to your seats? And we're like, fuck you, bro. I don't fucking know who you are. My boy's in this. And then we're out.
This is what you said to the dean?
Yeah. I forgot his name.
Duggan?
Yeah. Duggan.
Okay.
Fucking Duggan. Shouts to you, bro. Hope you're doing well. Anyway, so we left. While leaving, the security guard notices that there's loud music playing from the parking lot, and I'm sure smells some pot. Starts walking over. We see him. Someone taps me. He's like, yo, Dave, yo, Dave. And I look up, and I'm like, oh, fuck this. I'm on the mood for this. And I start driving, and the guy goes to get my tags in front of me, and I, like, skirted to the right a little. I'm not driving fast. We're talking, like, 3 miles an hour here. And he's like, whoa, you almost hit me. And I'm like, dude, I didn't almost do. I'm not even starting. He goes to the back of the car to try to look. I pull onto the grass, pull out of South. We go to the city, have a sick night. Monday morning, I get to college. I get to school. Immediately called in. One of those first period before you could sit down things.
Kaplan, got it.
How was your weekend? He says. I go, it was fucking great. We had a relaxing night Friday in the cabana.
Did you speak to him like this? Do you curse? Like,
yeah, absolutely. And I apologize. I have a terrible mouth.
No. I'm curious though, because the relationship that he established with you was one of openness.
Yeah.
So you were able to be
I think that's
open
with all my relationships. You know,
Yeah.
if I can't be myself, then why should I
Yeah.
have you in my life? Anyway, I don't have time
if
for
I
that.
can't curse at you, why should you be in my life?
No, I can't curse you, but I mean...
I got you. I'm messing. I'm playing. Go on.
You're a schmuck. Anyway, he calls me, how's your weekend? We hung out Friday night. Oh, yeah? Okay, what about Saturday? We went to the city. Where'd you go? Tenjin. Who went with you? What, like, the usual suspects. What? I'm like, am I missing something here? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, what? And I'm literally sitting there like, what the fuck is he trying to get me to say? Like, someone snitch on me for something? Like, I didn't know what was going on. And he goes, where were you before you went to... He said you took the train to the city? I was like, yeah. He's like, what'd you do before you went to the train station? And all of a sudden, I'm like,
Rebel War.
oh, fuck.
Oh, jeez.
He had me and 4 of my friends get into his car, drive over to South with him that day.
Wow.
Apologize to Duggan, apologize to the security guard who was like trying to sue me and some craziness. But I genuinely felt bad about that. Not for Duggan, but for the security guard. Like, I didn't want the dude think I was trying to run him over. That was fucked up.
That was messed up, but you didn't feel bad about cursing to the assistant principal.
Not at all.
Really?
Yeah, I told him to go fuck himself. And I walked
Why?
out.
But again, this
Authority.
is not the Dave Nowinsky I knew, though.
Right, but I don't have an answer for why I respected certain people with authority positions and why I didn't. I think if it was more so of like, you never tried to be somebody that like had all this power and whatever and da 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 da. I
kids.
allowed you to, or like not allowed you, but I, in my eyes, allowed you to have this power, right? Like, he's a teacher, we'll respect him. Believe me, there were other teachers.
No, I get it, and this is why I was when my initial fear of having a kid like you in my class is there's a fine line that even like in an ideal world, student respects teacher no matter what.
Absolutely.
But but the reality is that's not how it goes. The reality is
in Great Neck
at
the time.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying like part of the reason why it's hard to be a teacher, and I think for people it really genuinely is hard to be a teacher because you don't you expect kids to act a certain way, and teachers don't always realize that they will get the respect that you potentially earn, or I don't know how to say it.
Give.
And maybe that's the wrong way to think. Maybe my mentality is wrong.
Correct way to think.
And maybe the right way is listen. Students should respect teachers no matter what because
Why?
It's because they're the authority figure. A student is in this classroom.
So because you're in a position of authority, I should respect you? Should I respect you because you're the president? Can I not have an opinion about you?
You could, but okay. So let's say you get pulled over by a cop.
Sure. I was super respectful.
Why are you respectful to a cop, but not?
I can get in trouble.
That's where the power
How much
comes.
trouble are you going to get me in as a teacher?
No, I mean the reality is not much. I mean,
Exactly.
What can I do?
So why am I going to give a shit? But if you're a cool guy, I'm 100% going to be down with you. You know what I mean?
No, listen, that's my point. I get that mentality.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, I get the mentality. I'm
it.
just saying,
Copy.
in an ideal world, I should not even have that mentality. Most teachers go into the profession of education thinking that they walk into the room and and the respect should be there no matter what.
And most kids walk into that room and feel like they understand that dynamic, right?
Right.
I'm not most kids.
And that's why I can imagine a teacher listening to me say this right now, saying, you're a moron to me. Saying, you're disgracing the profession by letting the kids have that power. Because in a way...
Have what power? I did well in your class.
No, but I'm saying like the power is I'm allowing you to dictate how I treat you.
Yeah.
Whereas...
Understood.
Right? So that's where a teacher would tell me I'm a moron. I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, the goal of a teacher should be to get the most out of his kids no matter what. And that's my job. My job is to earn your respect, and therefore, by earning your respect, I'm going to get the most out of you.
And I needed to earn your respect.
Yeah,
I was well aware.
And it worked. Our relationship worked. I'm just saying,
going
back to the Kaplan pulling you in his office that morning, So you drove over with your friends. You apologized to these people.
To Duggan and the security guard. And we're told we're never allowed back at South.
Oh, wow.
Ever.
Wow. I listen. Your opinion on this guy is... He obviously had some kind of...
He had a huge impact
on your
me.
life, which is nice.
Right.
And listen, whatever that means and whatever he did to help, you're still here. And that kind of brings me to one of the things I wanted to talk to you about.
I don't want to give him credit for why I'm still here. Let's just... He can have credit for Rogue Rally getting canceled, but you want to talk about why I'm still here? We could talk about that.
Yeah, I think about that.
So, what do you think about it?
I think about the fact that 2 of your closest friends died.
Within a week of each other, the week of my birthday.
Okay. So I think about that, and I think about...
And I just want to say, like, disclaimer here. First of all, I love my 2 friends who passed away. Like...
I love them too.
I know, and I don't want to be like brought to tear moment type situation, but I mean, like, there's not a day that goes by that I don't literally speak out loud to both of those people. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're the reason I was able to get sober and get off the pills and everything like that. And look, it's because of this that we're sitting here. It's because of that. It's because of them that I'm alive sitting here. You know what I mean? So getting back into what you were saying, not to cut you off, I apologize.
No, it's okay. That's part of what I wanted to talk about is, so the first kid died. And then the second kid was impacted by the first kid's death. I remember I was in Florida, and you called me. I remember exactly where I was. You called me.
Shit.
I was driving from Palm Beach, Florida to Singer Island. I remember the road I was on because I ignored your call, and then you called me again. And then I ignored your call because I was in the car with my family. And I got a text from you. You need to call me right away. So I got into this hotel that I was staying at. And I called you back. And I remember you were crying or something. Yeah.
Sure.
And you told me that this second kid died. And I remember just being like, oh my God. And I imagine, like, I don't know all the details, but I think you told me the connection between the 2 kids. But then so that's the story of your two of your best friends.
Yeah.
Right? And then I think you got into this terrible car accident where...
Well, I got into a terrible car accident in high school.
Where you, in many ways, could have died. Right?
Sure.
What happened in that car?
I was driving down Middle Neck Road.
How fast were you going?
110.
On Middle Neck Road?
Yeah.
What time was this?
2:30 or 3.
Oh, okay. Thank God no people around. But you were going 110 on a 30-mile-an-hour road.
Correct. And
what happened?
I hit a bump. And my car veered a little bit to the right, and I tried to self-correct. And next thing I knew, it felt like I was just sliding sideways and about to slam into a, like a curb kind of thing and stop like that. And that's really what it felt like the entire time. And then all of a sudden I was upside down, and I unclicked my seatbelt.
Oh my God.
My window was down because I was smoking a cigarette, thank God. And because God only knows I would have been able to get out of that car. And I climbed out of the car, literally stood up, pulled my shirt up to make sure I wasn't bleeding, looked at myself, and just like my jaw dropped. Now, there's a bar right across the street from there. In my head, I'm already thinking, okay, here's the deal. There was a party in Great Neck. I left my keys on the table. Someone stole my keys. They took the car. I'm going to run away from this.
You're trying to figure out an excuse.
Immediately. So, yeah. And
Wow.
this is on probably like... some drugs and a bunch of alcohol. Anyway, the people who were at the bar outside smoking cigarettes across the street thought I was dead, and then they see me climb out of the car. So now I'm like, "Fuck!"
Like a superhero movie.
If I run away, like.
So you had to take responsibility there. So you get into this terrible car accident that could have ended your life.
Yep.
Your 2 friends die from drugs.
Years later.
Right. No, I know. I'm saying these are the 3 momentous occasions of your life. Yet here we are. Thank God we're here talking. What do you attribute that to? Like, when you think back to all those 3 things, are you religious? Are you, like, what do you think about when you think about those things?
I'm not religious, but I'm certainly a big believer in, and this can sound corny, but I'm a big believer in the cosmos and just having good energy, and that, something dies, that energy doesn't die. It's always there. And I don't know what was looking out for me that day. Maybe it wasn't my time in terms of the car crash or whatever. And let's stick with that for a second. Like, it wasn't my time to go, right? I got lucky, but I didn't realize just how lucky I was. I finally went down my friends died, and I went down to Miami, and by myself, booked a suite at the W in South Beach because I had all my friends in Miami from college.
Mm-hmm.
When my 2 friends died, the first thing I did was get high on the drugs they died off of, right? I woke up on the floor of the W Hotel in my boxers on a random floor, gushing blood from my hand,
Oh my God.
entirely unsure of how I got there or what I did the night before. I come back from this fucked up trip in Miami.
Wait, but what? You still don't know what happened?
I have no idea what happened.
Wow.
So I come back, I'm in this terrible place, and then I get the second DUI. This isn't something I expected to share on this, but that was quite the process going through court, and I finally started to take things a little more seriously. And I
What was the DUI like? What happened? You get pulled over for drunk driving, or you get into an accident?
I didn't get into an... So I was driving back from the city. I was going to my mom's house for like a Sunday night dinner situation. And on the service road of the LIE, I nodded out at the wheel.
Oh, shit.
But the light was red. So I nodded out. I knew I'm at a red light. And my fucking foot slipped up off the brake a little. And I bumped into the guy in front of me.
Oh.
And he called the cops then and there. The cops got there. This is how bad I was. I used to smoke my opiates, my Oxycontin off of tinfoil with a straw. Like literally like some crackhead shit. Like I was in a really bad place. I'm sitting in an ambulance at this point. My mom arrives on scene, is just distraught at what she's looking at. And mind you, my mom is sober X amount of years at this point, but also, and to this day, she's in AA meetings and helping people 5 days a week. Like, takes it so seriously, has a commitment at every meeting, like, and her son just fucking gets another DUI. The first one can be chalked up to being an asshole in high school. The second one, I was in a really bad place. I was sentenced to 12 days in jail, along with 3 years no license. I had been in trouble before, and my lawyer always got me out of everything, and I'm almost glad that he wasn't. He said to me straight up, like, Dave, I
can't get out of
this
one.
one's...
So, but this was
So I
all...
spent 8 days in Nassau County Jail.
Okay.
I went through withdrawal in 72, which is the first 3 days you're there. They keep you in a specific area of the jail so that you can go through your withdrawals, and then they can give you the medicine.
You told them what happened?
Yeah, you fucking straight up say like, oh, I'm an opiate addict, da-da-da-da.
Uh-huh.
When was the last time you used? Okay, all right, 72 hours from then we can give you the medicine. I don't know if you ever heard of Suboxone, which is basically it goes into the same receptors that the rest of the opiates do, and it makes you feel like you don't need it, whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, I got to spend 8 days in jail, and that's not something I really speak about or something I'm proud about, but I did a lot of self-reflecting. Cause,
in jail?
Yeah. Because it's essentially like maximum security once you get moved out of 72.
Right.
Like you're put in a cell that's slammed shut. We're not talking about like bars and that type of thing. Like a
It's
door.
solitary?
No, but it might as well have been. Your door slams shut. There's a window. You can see kind of all around, but whatever. And then there's a little door for them to open when it's food time, chow time. And then we got an hour or two out of the day to be playing fucking checkers. And like we had one cool CO who brought in, what's it called? His Fire Stick, and we watched The Wire when he would be in. So I did a lot of reflecting, and I was like, I want to change my life.
Because of you mixed with what you did, mixed with your 2 friends
of
dying.
My best friends dying, reflecting on the past whatever amount of years of my life. And here's the fucked up thing. I spoke a lot about, being a functioning addict. Dude, I went to South by Southwest, had a successful showcase down there. Like, I was really on the up and up. And I actually think that I wasn't ready for it mentally. Like, I wasn't ready for the success yet at that point. And I think this was a little bit of self-destruction involved as well, to be completely honest. Anyway, I put myself back in this rehab that I'd been to once previously, took it seriously, came out, and haven't touched a opiate since.
Wow.
So
let's just talk a little bit about what you're doing right now, and then I want to come back to this. You are still a promoter. Is that right? Is that
I don't like the
currently...
word promoter. I definitely started as a promoter, right? Bringing people to nightclubs. But now it's more about, for me, working in the venue or for the venue specifically, right?
Okay, so you followed that path.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
What is your life like right now, drug-wise, alcohol-wise? Like what?
I work in entertainment and nightlife. There are always going to be drugs and alcohol.
So you're constantly around it.
Yeah. I won't sit here and pretend like I don't drink, like whatever. But do I get sloshed and shit-faced? Absolutely not. It's funny because I was always so against alcohol, but I drank, right? It was very weird.
Yeah.
It was this weird paradigm. I don't want to be an alcoholic, and I know that I won't be because of how much I hate my mother and father for it. So I can drink as much as I want. I'll never be an alcoholic. It'll just come through in the form of opiates instead, which is what happened. But now, what's your question? Like,
you drugs are... Alcohol and drugs have influenced your life, whether through your parents' alcoholism, whether through your drunk driving, two of them, one of them almost a deadly accident, drugs between your two friends, best friends dying. Like right now, where are you in that world? I know you're around it.
I'm not
but
in that
do
world.
You not do that? You don't do any drugs? Like what? I know you drink. You drink.
I drink, and you know what? Like, we're being completely honest here. Like, I fuck around on occasion. Like, when it's time, when the time is right, I will allow myself to dabble and have a little fun here and there, But in no way, shape, or form am I taking Xanax every day of the week, blowing lines of coke, or, fucking that are 8 miles long every day. Like,
but also now here we are in your mom's basement,
right? I do not live in.
Right,
just here because it was a good mutual meeting spot.
Right. Well, what's your relationship like with your mom?
Better than it's ever been. It's amazing. I'm at her anniversary meeting every year. I missed it 1 year because I was in the parking lot getting high and I nodded out and I cried for like 2 days.
Wow.
Because I make a speech at her anniversary every year. I don't know if you've ever been to an AA meeting, or AA anniversary. Rather.
No, luckily it's not something I'm
knock on wood.
Knock on wood, yeah.
But I mean, it sucked. I felt terrible for her this year because with quarantine, her anniversary was in May. She wasn't able to celebrate.
But she's fully sober.
Fully sober. Doesn't touch anything.
Your relationship's good with her.
My relationship's never been better.
You said you rekindled your relationship with your dad?
I rekindled my relationship with my dad because it was Passover, like I said, and I call it a Passover miracle as a joke, but it really was.
How did that happen?
Julia, my girlfriend, and the savior of my life, honestly. Like, I can't even say the yin to my yang. It's just like, I don't want to make it seem like she's my babysitter and she...
No, I gotcha.
But if there was a God and he created people, because I personally don't have a religious background, don't believe in whatever. If I was created, this female was created so that we would...
For you.
For me personally.
So she's your...
And I am hers.
Everything.
Yes.
This is it.
Like, I would literally lay down and die for the girl. Like, I'm going to get teary.
It's interesting thinking back, though, just like, I think back to your relationship with Mr. Kaplan. I think back to your relationship with your parents.
Sure.
I think back to even now your relationship with this girl, Julia. Then I think back to your relationship with all your friends and like the way you were in high school. Then you're in prison by yourself, and then you reflect. Do you almost feel like you need, like you were always surrounded with people, right?
I always kept myself surrounded with people.
Yeah, you were always surrounded by people.
Because I didn't want to be alone.
And you were this only child, like, right? This only child who's alone. But yet you surrounded yourself with all these people because you never wanted to be alone,
right?
Right, like you.
Because then the voices start in my head and the anxiety.
But then you went to prison,
right?
And
that's not called prison; it was jail.
Whatever, you went to jail.
Fucking goddamn hell! This is great, Nick. People are gonna hear this.
You went to jail,
yeah.
And in jail, you had the time. You were forced to kind of be on your own in a way.
Yeah,
that's when you actually got your life together. When you didn't have all these people.
That got my life together.
No, but
that's a very interesting thing. That
right?
Yeah,
it's just interesting when you finally were not surrounded by these influences.
But I wouldn't call them influences.
Well, but they are because even Kaplan,
you're right.
Even Kaplan, even Duggan, who you were disrespectful to, was an influence because it was someone that you could act out towards.
Sure.
But then you're by yourself. You're in jail, quote unquote jail,
Fuck you.
and you get to finally be on your own, and it actually turns out to be the best thing for you in a way.
Yeah, when you finally look around and no one's there, maybe it's time to change something. And granted, no one was there because I was in jail. Like, believe me.
Listen, some people need that. You needed that.
I needed it.
Because you would have found someone to surround yourself with at all times to not allow you to grow.
100%. And I mean, I'm so grateful for where I'm at now. The fact that I can say in December I'll have 3 years of not touching those fucking nemesing pills, like, it's unbelievable. And I mean, it's been a couple of years since my friends have passed, and again, like I said, I kid you not, I really do like look to them for advice, and like sometimes I'll be like, why name insert, you know, like, what's going on, like, what did I do for this, like, to deserve this?
Okay, so that is somewhere I was interested in going. So you and your friends were these, like, you know, you ran the school or whatever. The Cabanians were this.
But this is past high school.
But it's where it starts.
Okay, we're starting. Okay,
right? Like, do you ever think that if these kids didn't meet David Nowinsky, they'd be in a different situation?
I think if we all didn't meet each other, we'd be in different situations.
100%. I'm thinking though, because you were this like larger than life guy who kind of like led the gang. Do you feel like there's a part of you that's almost responsible for their lifestyles?
To an extent, how could I say no? Absolutely, 100%. I wish I put my foot down with the one kid and said, this isn't for you. You're making yourself into someone you're not.
When, in high school?
Yeah. And definitely after. And then the other one, we were so, I don't want to say like I'm closer with this person than that person, but like there was a bond, and you probably saw it throughout high school. Like, yeah, we had the Cabanians and everything, but then there was Dave and whatever.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yep.
And I mean, when he passed, my phone wouldn't stop ringing because everyone's next thought was, how is Dave? How is Dave? How is Dave? How is Dave? Are you okay? What's going on? And I went through like a serious, probably month and a half long depression of like not leaving my room, which is not healthy for a drug addict, because I say not leave my room other than to go cop drugs.
So then is there other survivor's guilt though, in addition, that's not absolutely about you being responsible, but that you're alive and it could have very easily been you?
Why was it not?
Well, I mean, there's no answer to that question.
This is something I play with daily. When my phone rings and it's a buddy from sobriety calling to, you know, shoot the shit or check in or see how they're doing. And I don't preach this. Like, look, I don't go to meetings anymore. And I don't say, if I did, I wouldn't say, hey, I'm Dave, I'm an addict, still smoke pot and drink alcohol, but, you know, I don't do opiates anymore. Because fucking everyone's like, are you kidding? What are you doing here? Like, go to fucking rehab. And I don't want to say I'm a special case or whatever, but, like, I've managed to make this work. So if I were to relapse after this conversation, like, so be it. But I take things one day at a time, and I genuinely do apply everything I learned from AA and my mom over the years, from her going to AA, to my life every single day. And it's made me a better person. So the real survivor's guilt comes when it's late at night and, you know, I'm watching a show on TV and someone dies of an overdose.
So then if you feel it,
and
brings you back to that place.
Of course, every time. But then sitting up late at night in bed, or even like walking around during the day, walking out of Starbucks, if something triggers a memory, like, why am I allowed to go get that Starbucks, but the two of them aren't here?
That's real. It's power. It's powerful. It's crazy.
It's very crazy.
So change this. I'm going to change the subject completely.
Before you do that,
go ahead.
We got off topic with my dad and why I reached out to him.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
And I think it's important.
Go ahead.
It was Passover, and Julia's very, very close family friend called her the day before and said, Julia, I'm in St. Francis. If something should happen, call my first wife and let her know. And she was like, what are you talking about? And like, he died of COVID the next day.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if I'm sure it's a growth, maturity, getting older thing, but I've had enough people die in my life. I've lost enough. Like, when it comes to family, all I really have is my mom. That's why, like, to me, family is like, blood doesn't make you family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Family is the two kids that I lost. Like, we weren't blood related. That's
right.
Family. Family is someone like you who I have a relationship with. Like, I consider you family. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, if you're in my inner circle, you're family to me. So I reached out to my dad after not speaking for like 7 or 9 years.
Wow.
He lives in Puerto Vallarta, which I knew.
What?
Because him and my mom have kept in touch.
Okay.
And he's living his best life. And I'm so happy that my phone rings and I see a Mexican number, you know, a couple times a week. And I mean, who would have thought, because it's certainly not me, that I would have ever had a relationship with my father again. So it's
crazy.
fucking awesome.
Do you speak to your babysitter? Your housekeeper?
All the time.
You do.
She comes back and she'll come, like if my mom is going away, she'll come house sit. And if she's house sitting, like I don't need to be in the city. I want to be with Margaret. So like I'll come home.
How would the David Nowinsky of 2020 define success?
I think success really comes down to when you wake up in the morning and you look yourself in the mirror when you're brushing your teeth. When you put your toothbrush away, whether you walk out of that bathroom with a smile on your face or like, fuck, it's another day. Because I know me personally, I am so grateful to be doing what I'm doing, which is what I love, which is what I went to college for, mixed in with what my family friends taught me when I was younger. And I mean, what success? I don't know. It's not about money and all that shit. It's about being happy with yourself. Because if you're not happy with yourself, what do you really have? And I had to go through hell and back to figure that out. But here I am.
So all these life experiences you had from...
And I'm 28. Like, I'm not that old.
I know,
you know what I
crazy.
mean? Like,
yeah.
I put it this way a lot of times. When I first got sober, I was like, I don't mind hanging my jersey from the rafters because I've experienced it.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
right.
There's nothing you can tell me in terms of partying and this, that, and the third that I haven't done 16 times and had a great time doing it or bad time doing it, but I did it. So my jersey can hang and I'm good. And look, now, like I said, like I can have a couple drinks here and there. I can smoke some pot here and there. And you know what? Like to those out there who are like, well, you're not fucking really sober, then I appreciate your opinion. That's yours. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. And you're a fucking asshole for having that opinion.
That's it.
I mean, I can't thank you enough for taking your time to come here. You taught me about myself today, and like not that I think I know everything about myself, but like I see my psychiatrist once every other week, and he's not like a pill writing he's a therapist.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think I get most of my shit out with him, but he didn't see me grow through high school, so how could I sit and have a conversation with my therapist and get the same results as with you?
That's the thing that's so great about this for me, because I knew you at such an interesting time of your life.
Yeah.
And now we could talk about how those experiences actually led to where you are now. Like they really did. And
oh, 100%.
you know,
what
it's
are you
like
talking about?
It makes me happy to hear that like I helped you think through things that you may not have thought through with your therapist, because
that's a huge compliment, by the way, because I have nothing but love for him. Like my doc is like
that's great.
Everything. But I mean, look, when you first called me, you had this idea, right?
Yeah.
But you put yourself in a box right away. You were like, oh yeah, it's going to be about this, that.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's not about that. It's about the person you're fucking sitting across from, having a conversation with, and allowing them to just speak freely.
Yeah, no,
you know?
it's been great.
Thank you, Andy.
This is great. This is awesome.
Really
Appreciate
was.
it.
I am a prisoner locked up behind Xanax bars.
You know, life isn't always easy for anyone. But if you or anyone you know is struggling with substance abuse or any other issues, please seek help. Talk to a school psychologist, a trusted teacher, or any professional. Sometimes one conversation can make all the difference. And if you don't have anyone to speak to, call the substance abuse hotline at 1-800-662-4357. I want to thank my guest and former student, David Nowinsky, for this important conversation. If you enjoyed this conversation, please rate and review this show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, and tell all of your friends to rate and review it too. Every positive review helps new listeners find the show, so spread the word and subscribe. I want to see those 5 stars. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, send me a DM at hsmatterspod, or you can send me an email the old-fashioned way at hsmatterspod@gmail.com. Also, follow us on social media at the handle hsmatterspod for weekly updates on the podcast, for pictures of me and guests, for pictures of guests from high school, and any other information about the show. High School Matters was created, produced, and edited by yours truly, your host, Randy Appel. Consulting producers are John Fuss and David Friedman. Sound consultant is Peter Lennox. Our music is written and performed by me and is produced by Lee Tepper. High School Matters is, and always has been, a Belston production. 88766 signing off. I hope everyone learned something and enjoyed.